Welcome to Monetizing Purpose, where we pursue purpose, earning a living, doing what you love. Today I want to talk about the foundation of living a life of monetized purpose. You know, I grew up in a very, very, very religious home. My father is a preacher. And growing up in that type of an environment, you know, you grow up hearing sermons about purpose. You know, you go to church conferences where purpose is spoken about. But the missing link in all of those sermons that I went to, the missing link in all those sermons that I heard, the missing link in all of those conferences that I went to where purpose was spoken about was the monetization of purpose. And what alerted me, or rather what awoke me to the missing gap between a life of purpose and a life of a monetized purpose was when I was writing blogs for a Christian blog or a Christian website. What would happen in that website is that I would write a blog choosing a topic on what I would speak about. And because most of the times I was speaking about purpose, and sometimes even how do you get people to buy into your purpose so that they will be able to give or to donate to your cause or to donate to your church. I got the most surprising letters, and these surprising letters to me, I got them from pastors. You know, the old-fashioned pastors, those ones who really did ministry, not today's pastors, who instead of them taking care of the community takes care of them. No, those real, authentic pastors. You know, I remember one letter that shook me to the core was when a pastor from one country said that, you know, I want to know how do I make a living? How do I make an income with my purpose? And me making that purpose, or me earning a living with my purpose, that would help me and my family. Because currently the situation that I am in right now is that my family uses the resources that they have. My family, my wife and I, we use the income that we have to take care of the church. When I go to work and when my wife goes to work and she's an entrepreneur, when she hustles, at the end of the day, the money that we are getting, the money that we are earning as a couple, that money gets used for the church. It gets used to take care of the community. And at the end of the day, we ourselves don't have anything we don't have any money to buy groceries from after we've done what we did for the church and the people in the church. And it was with that experience that I had that I said, you know what, I don't want to be like this pastor. No. I'm not. That's why I personally believe that I would be a bad pastor. You know, for me, because I would always put my needs and my family's needs above everyone else. For me personally, that's why I believe that I'm not called to be a pastor, because I'm never going to sacrifice my own income. I'm not going to sacrifice the happiness and the joy of my wife and my kids for a stranger or for a church member for the church. Or maybe the reason I'm saying this is because I've observed and I've seen the price that my parents have paid for their purpose. You know, growing up as a child from the rural areas of South Africa and Gamamawolo, what would happen most of the times was that there would be things that I need, or there would be things that my brother and my sister would need. But because of the fact of the price that my parents were paying for their purpose, we never got a chance to have those things. You know, being a preacher's kid, what most people don't understand about being a preacher's kid, especially the original preachers, those ones who would sacrifice everything for the betterment of the community. You know, I remember the times when my parents would take children from other families. They would use the money that we had as a family to take them to school. They would identify someone in the community. They would identify someone who is in the church, and they would look at the family and say, there's no one who's educated there in that family. Let's take our own money, let's take our own resources, and let's take this child to school. And they took many children to school. Sometimes they would look at families and check how many families are able to meet their financial needs, how many families are able to take care of their family. And they would take money from us, money that we should be getting to do and to meet our needs, and they would go and provide for that family. That's the price that my parents paid. And that's why I personally believe that for me, I would make a horrible pastor, because I would never take bread from my children to go and give to a stranger. I will only do that out of my abundance, not out of my lack. And as I watched that, and as I watched how they paid their price for them to fulfill their purpose that God had bestowed upon their lives, I was reminded of how my parents did and the price that they paid for their purpose as I was busy consulting, coaching, and mentoring these pastors. And I want to share with you 5 things. That I want you to be aware of, or let me call them 5 truths that I want you to appreciate and acknowledge that will help you to monetize your purpose. And number 1, the first thing that you need to do, if you are going to say that I am sick and tired of begging for people's charity, I am sick and tired of depending on people's charity for me to fulfill my purpose, I've come to the conclusion that the people whose charity you need the most, they control you. The people whose offering you need the most in your church, they control you. The people whose charity you need the most in your life, they control you. How? They control you because if you are to do anything, you need their approval. If you are to build something, if God puts something in your heart and says, I want you to build this state-of-the-art studio for the church, that you will be able to have a community radio station for you to be able to broadcast to the community, those people whose offerings you need the most, they are the ones who can say, no, we don't have the money. And if they say that we don't have the money, you are going to have to go and beg or try to convince them how good this would be for the community, because the people whose charity you need the most, or the people whose offerings you need the most, they control you. So number 1, if you are going to be living a life of monetized purpose, number 1, you need to acknowledge that the monetization of purpose is necessary. You need to acknowledge that the monetization of purpose is necessary. It's commonly said, and in fact, this is not biblical. It's commonly said that the love, come on now. When you read the scriptures, it does not say that the monetization of purpose is the root of all evil. No. It does not say that you earning a living doing what you love is sin. But it says that their love of money is the root of all evil, not the need or the acquirement or the procurement of money. And King Solomon says to us, he reminds us that money, ka-ching-ching, money answers all things. And if you are going to live a life of monetized purpose, the first thing that you need to do is to acknowledge that the monetization of purpose is necessary. And not only should you, number 2, what you need to do, you said number 1, you need to acknowledge that the monetization of purpose is necessary. And number 2, you need to acknowledge or appreciate that there's nothing wrong with money. I want to repeat that to you. There is nothing wrong with money. You know, I love what Les Brown says. Les Brown says that the lack of money, the lack of money is the one that's the root of all evil. Because the man who doesn't have a way to provide for himself, he will go and steal. The man who does not have a way to feed his children, he will go out and kill to make a living. The lack of money is the root of all evil, Les Brown says. And number one, you need to acknowledge that the monetization of purpose is necessary. And number two, or 1.1a, is that there is nothing wrong with money, man. There is nothing wrong with money, my woman. There is nothing wrong with making money or with earning a living, doing what you love. There is nothing wrong with that, man. You know, what's very wrong is for you to do what you love. What's very wrong is for you to spend your money refining your gift. What's very wrong is for you to spend money and resources that you don't have refining, working on your gift and working on your purpose for you to be taken for granted. You know, I remember many times when I was taken granted, where my gift was taken for granted, where my purpose was taken for granted, because I said that, I'm a Christian, I give, you know. God says, as freely as you've received, freely give. I remember when I did that. And people would take advantage of me. People would take advantage of my gift. People would take advantage of my purpose. And they would call me to speak. I would speak. I would train. I would coach. And then they would not pay me. They will say, hey, well done. Hey, well done, Mr. Humble. Hey, well done. Hey, may God bless you. Hey, we thank God for you, Mr. Marble. Hey, that was very powerful. Hey, we thank God for you. Hey, they would give me a round of applause. Hey, Mr. Marble. Hey, a great job, well done. Hey, Mr. Marble, God bless you. They would say that. But when I'm done and when everything is over, they would go to the next person and they would give him a check. They would give him an offering. They would EFT and deposit or transfer money to their account. Why? Because I was my own limit. I was the one who was the enemy of my own success and my progress, because I thought and I believed that earning a living, doing what you love, was wrong. I destroyed my own earning potential when I believed that the monetization of purpose is a sin. That's number two. Number two, you need to get rid of the beliefs you currently have towards money and the monetization of your purpose. Let me repeat that. You need to get rid, or you need to change the beliefs you have about money and the monetization of your purpose. For me, I believed and I was conditioned to believe that making a living with your purpose was seen as freely as you've been given. So should you freely give? And I remember, I still remember that conversation very well that I had with one young pastor. We were coming from a workshop. We were attending a leadership workshop. And while we were attending that leadership workshop, we were on our way to go and catch taxis there at the Polokwane taxi rank. And on our way to catch those taxis at the taxi rank, we had an opportunity to talk. And this young man was sharing with me how he was investing in foreign exchange, how he was making money in the forex market. And he said that I have this friend of mine. And this friend of mine is a pastor. And he's great at doing his job. He's great at doing what he loves doing, man. This guy hosts. This guy is a very powerful preacher. I love this guy. But the problem that I have with my friend, he told me that, is that he is miserable as a pastor. He's miserable as a pastor. And I asked him, what makes him miserable as a pastor? And he shared with me that the pastor whom he submitted under, the pastor who is mentoring him into the ministry, and the pastor whom he's running a branch for, or he's managing a branch for, or another division of the church, or another campus of the church for, would give him an income of $2,000 a month. And from that $2,000 a month, he would need to go to the different branches of the church, go and speak there, go there and do counseling, and go and do all of those things. And maybe the nail to his coffin came one day when there was a conference that the pastor or the overseer of all those churches had a very, very, very big conference, and he invited different kinds of speakers from all walks of life. And after the conference, when the conference was done, that pastor who managed everything, who organized everything, that pastor who made sure that the speakers got to their hotels, who made sure that the speakers were all fed, that very same pastor, he was told, Pastor so-and-so, Hey, we thank God for you, man. That was very powerful. Hey, the work that you did. May God bless you. We thank the Lord for you. May God richly bless you. Come on. That's what they said to him, and that was his token of appreciation. But to the other speakers which were invited from all walks of life, a check of 70,000 was signed to them. An invoice of 70,000 were received from all those speakers. And he went home. He got home. He could not do the round of applause. He could not with the round of applause that he got from the pastor and everyone at the conference. He could not with those rounds of applause go to the shop and buy food for his children. He could not with all of those thank you. We thank God for you. Buy his wife or take his wife out for dinner, for a date, to thank her for the price that she continually pays for him to fulfill his. He could not do that. He could not take his children out to go and make memories, maybe in the park or somewhere where maybe they could buy ice cream or enjoy a meal with all of those God bless yous he got. And when he shared with me that, it hit hard. It hit hard because that's what was happening in my life, or what I observed in my life. So number two, if you are going to monetize your purpose, we said number one, you acknowledge. Number two, you need to acknowledge that there's nothing wrong with earning a living with your purpose. There's nothing wrong with money. And number three, you need to seek help. You need to look to a master teacher, whom I would like to call a master teacher, or you need to look for a coach. You need to look for a mentor who will help you. It's not enough. It's not enough for you to identify that I have a problem. But once you've identified that you've got a problem, then you need to be working on finding the solutions. You need to be actively finding or looking for the solutions to the problem that you have. And you've come to the right place on the Monetizing Purpose podcast. And if you are someone who's saying that, no, Mr. Mabulo, I also want, I want a master teacher, I want a coach, and I want a mentor to help me monetize my purpose, then at the end of the show, I'll leave my contacts, and contact me, email me, or WhatsApp me, and I will enroll you on my coaching program and my mentorship program, where I will help you how to monetize your purpose. We said number two, seek a mentor or a master teacher or a coach who can help you monetize your purpose. Number three, we say change your beliefs around the monetization of purpose. Whatever beliefs you were taught, whatever beliefs you were conditioned to think, you need to get rid of those beliefs. You need to change those beliefs. What you believe is a stronghold, or is the foundation for what you think. Whatever those beliefs might be, those limiting beliefs that you have. An African proverb says this, that if there is no enemy within you and I, if there is no enemy within, the enemies outside will do us no harm. And if in you've got these conflicting beliefs, when you go out there, when you come back miserable, when you go out there, when you come back unhappy, when you go out there and you come home to fight with your wife, when you go out there and you come back home to fight with your kids about the fact that you are never there. You are never there, but you can't provide for us. You are always out saying that you are pursuing your purpose. Your children or your wife would say, Daddy, 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 you are always out on the weekends. You are always out Monday to Friday, and you don't have time with us. When you are arguing with your wife, my love, why are you doing this? Why are you taking away from our children? My love, why are you doing this? Why are you taking away from the needs that we have as a family? When you are having those arguments, when you are having those fights with your wife and your children, remember that it's those limiting beliefs that you have that are limiting you from the potential you have of earning a living doing what you love. And number 4, you need to change the way you think about purpose and its monetization. As long as you still hold those beliefs, as long as you are still thinking the same way that has gotten you into poverty, the thinking. It was James Allen who said that the thinking that has gotten us this far. No, it was Albert Einstein. I forgot who it is. The thinking that has gotten us this far. The thinking that has gotten us into these problems of the monetization of purpose. The thinking that has gotten us into this misery in the pursuit of purpose. The thinking that has gotten us into this unhappiness of the monetization of purpose has created for me, has created for my family, has created for my wife, has created for my kids the problems that this very same thinking about the monetization of purpose can solve. You need to change your beliefs, number 3. And number 4, you need to change your thinking. I challenge you to explore new ways of thinking about the monetization of purpose. For me, when I got on this journey, when I wanted to get out of the misery, when I wanted to get out of the unhappiness that I was feeling in my life for the monetization of purpose, I started to think, you know what? There's nothing wrong with making money. And I remember this very, very, very well. I was at the University of Pretoria studying computer science. And while I was studying computer science, I remember one day when I got a call from my mother. And my mother is a woman who usually hides things from me when she thinks that if we tell you this, this might affect you and the way that you are thinking. So most of the time, she would keep things away from me. But when it gets to that point when she knows that at this point there's nothing I can do to hide this, to try to protect my child, she would then tell me what's wrong. And I remember as I was on Festival Street, approaching the main entrance to the Hatfield campus there at the University of Pretoria, when I got the call, and my mother said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "No, but let me find a place to sit down." Then I found a rock on the side of the road, and I leaned against it. And she shared with me that for some time now, your father has been going through treatment because some time back your father had a heart attack. Your father had a heart attack, and I didn't want to worry you. And we've been taking him to see specialists and all these professionals so that he could get the medical care that he needs. And I remember how hard and how tough that was for me. But what made it tough and hard for me was when she further told me that, and because of the times that we've been seeking this medical care, what we've noticed and what we've discovered is that the first doctor who diagnosed him gave him a misdiagnosis. So the past 2 or 3 years that we've been spending lots of money on treatments, they were actually false. We were treating something that was not there. And I remember the anger that I felt. Because she then told me that because of this, we will not have enough money to continue paying for his medical care and to pay for your education. And I was so angry that I wanted to sue that doctor. But that cost me. I'm thankful that my parents didn't allow me to proceed by taking legal action, because the anger that I had would have blinded me to see the lesson that I got. And I remember when I was in the pharmacy, when one of the pharmacists said to me while I was collecting medication that, "Hey, young man, it's a shame. It's a shame that your father who taught me and gave me the principles that have made me this great man that I am today. It's a shame that all that time and all the money that he's spending, that he was supposed to be enjoying with his retirement, is now used to restore his health." And what I realized and I learned from that is that one medical emergency in your life, one medical emergency can wipe out every cent that you have. One medical emergency can make the joy of enjoying your pension be destroyed. So we said number 4, you need to change the way you think about your purpose and its monetization. And the last thing, you need to build systems that will help you to monetize your purpose. And on the Monetizing Purpose online coaching and mentorship program, that's where I'll be helping you discover your own personal way to do. The first thing that I will help you do is I will help you discover your purpose. And then number 2, I will help you build a system on your purpose that will help you to earn a living doing what you love doing. So don't forget, at the end of this podcast, make sure you email me. If you are using email, send me an SMS, call me, send me a WhatsApp text, and I will enroll you on the Monetizing Purpose online mentorship and program that's beginning at the 1st of March. So as he said that, it's a shame that your father is now spending all the money that he was supposed to be using to enjoy his pension, going through treatment, going to see the different kinds of experts. I made a commitment to myself that I will change the way that I think about the monetization of my purpose. Because if one medical emergency wiped out everything, if one medical emergency wiped out all the cents, the rents that my family had, that my parents had, then I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want this to happen to my kids. I don't want this to happen to my family. And I believe that you yourself don't want this to happen to you. You also don't want this to happen to your family. You also don't want this to happen to your generation. If there's anything that you get from this podcast, realize, acknowledge, and appreciate that the monetization of purpose is necessary. You need to learn how to monetize your purpose. And thank you for tuning in and listening to the 5 key things that you and I, the foundation that we need to be able to monetize our purpose. Don't forget, please share And please subscribe to the podcast and share with everyone. Send to your friends. Send, if you are a pastor, send to your colleagues. If you are whoever you are in your journey and in your career, please share and subscribe to this podcast. And I'll see you next time.